Yeah, let's pretend we have a budget with that one. So, hello everyone. Welcome to the most random impromptu version of a live stream that you're ever going to get. Uh, for everyone that has been asking for this, now I'm gonna give it to you. You shall ask, you shall receive. You guys been wanting deep dive conversations. You guys been wanting for us to actually go hard on some topics, and I must admit we've been a little lackadaisical with some of the deep talks. So that's why we're here, and we have two experts, two connoisseurs of the matter, and I'll let them introduce themselves. First, we have the powerful lethal lining.
Hey, thanks for having me. I wouldn't say I'm some hardcore expert, but I can definitely yell and rant about things. So thanks for having me. Appreciate it. Hope everyone's doing well.
And we have also Emosh, the power stand.
Oh, let's do it. Oh, fuck yeah. I'm ready.
Yeah. Fucking
Let's get
Viking
it.
ready here. Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. So guys, tonight we have a very, very interesting topic. And that's where you know what? Raw, no rubber. Let's go right into it. Um, this is going to be a deep dive conversation on Chainsaw Man. And if time allows, yes, we will dive into also a little bit of Dragon Ball because the direction that Dragon Ball is taking as of late, it's one
Shit.
to yeah, it is. I'm not super thrilled with it. But let's go with the with Chainsaw. Now, for anyone that is not caught up with Chainsaw Man, we're gonna be talking about just the first two episodes. Just the first two. But whether we're gonna dive into spoilers or not, most likely we will. So just FYI, this is why this stream is going to be more very different than what we do on Thursdays. So we're going to dive into things. If you don't want to be spoiled, I suggest that you leave or you keep watching this in the background for the watch time hours. So, anyways, with that said, let me open the panel with the question: is Chainsaw Man good?
I'd say yes. I will say yes. Two episodes, still early days.
Mhm.
I definitely much preferred the first episode over the second episode, but so far it's a yes for me.
Okay.
Yeah, it's good so far. So whether or not it stays that way remains to be seen. I haven't read the manga, so I'm going into it blind.
Mhm.
Episode one is obviously, I think it set really good expectations for people who are either fans of it or just going into it for the first time, like myself. But what I can say is that episode two, in my opinion, was a good segue or transition from episode one because we get a lot of new characters are introduced. The pacing for those characters and like their character archetypes and personalities are conveyed pretty well, and it's easy
Mhm.
to understand. Like, there's maybe like one thing that I disliked about it, but it's such a minor criticism that so far I think it's an easy recommend.
Mhm.
For the end of 2022 going into 2023. So yes, I think it's good so far.
Okay. So there's something that I've seen on Twitter a lot, and that is that the um the second episode lost a lot of people. Like they felt like it wasn't as a smooth
Really,
transition.
what were the what were the criticisms? Because I haven't seen that.
So yeah, some of the ones that that I found, I think I have them here actually, is that the contrast was way too drastic. So we had the first episode being a roller coaster of emotions that had character development, introduction of the world, that had emotional ties and everything, where you felt everything for everyone. But that the second one, it felt a little too unnecessarily expository, where they just presented characters, but they didn't further the plot. Would you agree or disagree?
No, the plot is clearly going somewhere. We
Hmm.
see Makima. We see how Denji and Makima interact with one another. Denji's
Hmm.
obviously a simp. His oversimplification is kind of annoying, but it's quickly addressed by, I think his name is Haya something, the other dude with the man bun, the fake man bun.
Aki.
Yeah, him. It's addressed by him, and then we get some good dynamics between those two characters. They fight, but then they kind of get along, even though they're not getting along, but they're forced to. And then they're given a mission. The goal of him being in charge of that specific special unit is laid out very simply and effectively. So you kind of get that, like where they're going with that. And then at the end, I mean, towards the end, you get Power, who she's fairly easy to understand.
Yeah, she's
currently, right? Like she's just there. She's the wild card of the group. And Haki's the kind of like chill, laid back kind of like, there's a lot going on with him, but we don't really know about that yet. That's the kind of vibe you get with him. And Denji's just like, his character archetype is laid out pretty well in episode 1. And then Makima is just very mysterious in a way. So I do not understand that criticism at all. That's weird.
I half agree with it. I agree that it's a big contrast change, but I don't agree that the plot's not going anywhere. Like he said, it's very clearly going somewhere, but it is definitely a big contrast change gone from the first episode, which was all miserable. Like one of the first things is him talking about selling one of his nuts, one of his eyes. You know, his demon dog dies. Well, he believes it dies right in front of him. He's like getting bashed by the Yakuza. He's just a broke motherfucker. He's talking about budgeting off one piece of bread, and it's just a gore fest. And then this one was very different. But I haven't finished reading the manga. In fact, I kind of stopped reading it, but I should catch up. But I remember that there's supposed to be a fight that wasn't in the second episode. When they go to get breakfast, I'm pretty sure there's another demon fight there, and that just was not in the anime episode. And because it's like a little girl or something gets kidnapped by a demon, and Denji runs in to rescue her, and he's like, I kind of don't want to kill this demon because, you know, maybe he's a good guy. And then the demon attacks him, so he cuts it up. And I remember when he first meets Makima, that she's a lot more ruthless towards him, like just right off the bat says, "You are my dog," as opposed to saying, "I'm going to care for you." And she still says, you know, "You just say yes and woof, and I have no need for a bad dog because we'll put you down." But right from the bat, the way I remember it is she just says, "Yeah, you're my dog now. You're just my pet." And he's kind of into that. I mean, I don't kink shame.
Yeah, whatever rocks your boat at that point.
Yeah.
Now, you bring an interesting thing. So, Makima. I've seen a plethora, like as much as we make fun of Denji's simping, there's a lot of simps for Makima out there.
Because she's got that raw step on me mummy energy.
I was gonna say, like, that is not my thing. And I was like, I guess she's like runner up for waifu of the year, I guess, but like I guess I just don't like to be stepped on. But how do you guys feel about Makima overall? Like the harder manga version and the anime version that it tends to have a more of a softer side.
I think the character works better when she's more of a bitch.
Oh.
I don't have any feelings about that specifically. So what Lethal mentioned is it's just like, it's weird because I'm watching the anime and I get that vibe from her now. She's not as bitchy though, probably because I haven't read the manga. So I haven't flat out just saying you're my dog. But I'm not going to sit here and compare the anime versus manga, but I think both instances do an okay job at kind of conveying Denji's response to her in general, right? Like he's just submissive, which is something that's established in episode 1. So to kind of hammer it home more that, hey, you're just my bitch, you know, you're my dog, woof woof, just bark for me, you know what I mean? Like I think that's considering what Denji's kind of used to already, having this having Makima just be this like really mysterious and like, you know, having Denji ask whether or not she's a bad or nice person, you know, stuff like that. It just adds to that factor, that value. And I'm sure that we'll learn more about her going forward. So, and that's just me coming in, like just being an anime viewer so far. I've been recommended the manga by friends many times, but And I may actually end up, going to check it out now because of the anime being out. But I don't want to be spoiled either, so it's just like, But to stay on topic though, I
Mhm.
don't, I don't have any negative opinion of her so far. I think she's portrayed well, and I think the first, well, episode 2 doesn't give too much of her away yet. And I
Mhm.
kind of like that because it gives me something to look forward to later on. She's obviously important.
Mhm.
To what degree, I don't know. But I think so far the pacing for her has been okay.
How do you feel like one of the bigger criticisms I've seen towards it is
Yeah.
the animation.
Criticism. How is that animation a criticism? It's
Well,
Some
beautiful.
people
here's
don't. Sorry,
it's
go
the
on.
CG, it's the CG
Yeah.
thing probably, right? The CGI stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what I said, like when I covered it, like episode 1, I
Mhm.
actually said that it's strange because I hate CGI no matter what. I'm not a fan of it, specifically for anime, especially, right?
Mhm.
But there are animes that do it very well, like Fate does it very well, Demon Slayer. Like
Mhm.
there's instances to where it's done well, but you don't really feel it as much. And it's actually interesting that Lethal brought this up because episode 2, you don't feel it nearly as much as you did in episode 1. And
Yes.
in episode 2, it feels like I'm watching an anime, but I think overall it works pretty damn well for the show because like the style, like the scenery, everything, the way everything's drawn, it looks like it's a painting. And then there's
Mhm.
just characters applied to it on top of it, like, computer generated, whatever the fuck, right? So
Mhm.
I think it's working for the show. I'm not a fan of it, but
Mhm.
I think with this specific genre, it seems to be working okay. And in a way where I can tolerate it and still recommend it to people. So
Mhm.
it's probably just a minor complaint, if anything, regarding animation, because there's other, like Ivan Taco mentioned a Dragon Ball, and Dragon Ball is not. I mean, well, we'll leave it at that. You know what I mean? So
God damn it.
it's just a weird complaint. You know what I mean? Like, I understand if you don't like the CGI and that's why you won't watch it. I'm fine with that. I don't have an issue with it. But to say it's not good inherently because CGI, it just starts to become like, well, it's not really much of an opinion. It just comes down to whether or not you like CGI or not, right? So,
Mhm.
yeah. I mean,
I think a lot of it just comes down to because there is hype around this show. And I
right.
think there's, you're always going to have those people, more power to them that just don't want to watch it. So they're kind of just looking for an excuse. So they just go, CG, shit. So I don't have to watch it. I'm cleared now.
Yeah.
Like they
Yeah.
have to kind of convince themselves.
Interesting comment right here. Chainsaw Man feels like Jujutsu Kaisen to me. Do
Well,
you,
I mean, they're
I
very
mean,
similar. There's a lot of similarities, right? Like a lot of these anime that are coming out, like JJK, Demon Slayer, Chainsaw Man's been around like, via its manga, but excuse me, a lot of mangas in general have very, like, look at Bleach too. Like these are very generic plots, right? But what it
Mhm.
comes down to is whether or not you can take something so simple and generic and then give something that people don't expect. Like they have expectations, but then you just do something different with it. And I think I'm glad that he mentioned JJK because I think JJK does a good job of doing that. It takes a
Mhm.
generic plot point and it gives you a bunch of things that you would never expect.
Mhm.
It's hard to dislike a character in JJK, and so far it seems to be that way for like Chainsaw Man as well. And I think 2022 has been a good example of animes that have come out that have used simplistic plot points or generic themes and then done
Mhm.
something different with it and made it enjoyable for people to watch.
You know what I was worried about with Chainsaw Man? The moment I saw the group of the dynamic, uh I was afraid that they were going to fall into the Naruto, Sasuke, Sakura situation. You have an orange guy, a blue guy, and a pink haired woman. And
The big three.
the big three, right? And that's what they go with. Like, I have not finished Jujutsu Kaisen. I'm still watching it. And if there is a complaint that I have on Jujutsu Kaisen, is that you have the bootleg Kakashi and a very very deep inspiration of Naruto, Sasuke, and Sakura, right? You have clearly an inspiration from those characters, and it's like, I'm watching a modern version of Naruto. So whenever I saw that there was going to be a group with Denji, who's clearly like the orange dude, right? Like his chainsaw is orange, his hair is yellow, like he's the orange dude, And
And
then
then
we have
Sukuna is like the Nine Tails, right? Like, no, he's possessing
exactly.
the main character. No, I understand. Yeah.
S-
I agree. Uh,
mhm.
I think, but I think we've gotten to a point where like it's necessary to have a specific character group up with two or three to four other characters. Well, primarily two, right?
Mhm.
Who are just fundamentally different from each other, so that way they just build off of each other, right? Like that seems to be a common dynamic, and depending on
Yeah.
how you do it, it turns out okay. You know what I mean? So
Mhm.
that's how fandoms create this like Sasuke slaps Naruto, Naruto's the he's the goat, Goku, Vegeta, all this other shit. Like I think that's
Yeah.
healthy. So
No, and honestly, I didn't feel like they were pulling from the big three situation here. To be honest with you, it
yeah,
didn't feel like that because like every shonen protagonist. Correct me if I'm wrong, but even fucking Eren Yeager suffers from this problem, the shonen problem, right? Where you have your protagonist who thinks he's the absolute shit in a way, or he's overly confident, but as clearly the underdog, he gets to learn the lessons to become good, and he's like, but he always wants to surpass himself, right? Denji is kind of the first. I mean, it's not really a shonen. I mean, it does come out on Shonen Jump, so I guess he's kind of a shonen. But regardless, Denji is like the protagonist that he's like very simple, and I think
He is
that's the
so
beauty.
simple to the point where he didn't use chainsaws, his main thing, because he didn't want to get blood on the nudie magazines. He is so simple that he
Yeah.
outright says that his goal is to touch boobs.
yep,
Yes, a hundred
It
percent.
don't get much more simple than that.
And honestly, that's what I found like the beauty of the character there. The fact that he's so goddamn simple. Like you have the other dude, like punch him in the alley, right? And he's like, you better leave because you're clearly here just for Makima, and not everyone's cut out for this job, and I'm the shit. What does he do? Punches him in the nuts. Well, kicks him in the nuts, right?
yeah.
And it's just like, dude, that's a simple character trait. Like he just goes and straight up kicks him in the nuts, and he says, "Yeah, I'm doing this because of Makima." Literally. I mean, do I need another reason? And
Well, he also says he wants to continue living the life that he has right now. Like to him, it's a dream. You know
yeah,
what I mean? So there is that too. So like on to like what you're saying, I agree. But that's why when the main character is very simple like that, the plot it becomes very convenient for them in a good way. I mean, it's
mhm,
obviously it's a common criticism, but you get to do whatever the fuck you want with the main character now. Goku's very similar. Wants to be the strongest. He has his friends help him all the time, right? Like that.
mhm,
Luffy's very similar to that as well. People may disagree, but I'm talking about like inherent, like generally speaking, he wants to be the pirate king. He's motivated by his friends. He has morals. He doesn't back down from whatever the fuck, right? He stands by what he says, right?
mhm,
Naruto wants to be the Hokage. Doesn't go back on his ninja way. Blah blah blah. Denji is very similar, but he's very similar in a modern way. He just wants
mhm,
to touch some tits, and he just wants to continue living the life that he's been,
mhm.
granted out of a courtesy, out of charity, right? That's how he views it, and that's why episode 1 is so good, and that's why I think episode 2 does a good job at picking up from where episode 1 left off. I agree, it's a big change, but I think the
Mhm.
change is good because it kind of lightens the mood a little bit. Because JJK is like that as well. JJK
Mhm.
will, you're fighting Hanami, then all of a sudden, in the middle of the fight, Toto's just like boogie woogie. He's just like my brother, it's just fun. It's just very enjoyable, and I think overall, if you look at it like from a singular standpoint, that one specific thing, it becomes a criticism. When you unpack it as a whole package, it starts to
Mhm.
come together because you need those quote unquote flaws to kind of bring everything together, if that makes sense. So,
Mhm. Also, Christopher Osella, thank you so much for your $5. Yo, Emish, it's been a while since we last chat. How things going?
what's up, Chris? I'm good, man. I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened with the server. I don't know what's going on. I never really asked, but yeah, you can hit me up on Discord, dude. I hope everything's going well. Thanks for the super chat too.
Awesome. So let's talk about since we're talking about protagonist. I saw this comment. Hold on. Let me bring it up. Aren't aren't all shonen characters simple?
Main characters.
The main characters. Okay, so what do you think, Amash? Are all shonen characters simple?
Well, I don't know every single character that exists, so I can't say that like literally, right?
Let,
But from
let,
what I
let's
know,
let's go with the common ones like
generally,
Ichigo, yeah, like
yeah, I
the
think
common ones.
they're simple, but they're effective. And I think simple works. It's
Mhm.
like I said, it's because that character is simple. You get to do whatever you want with everyone else because everyone else that surrounds him makes him takes that simplification and just makes it better. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
It still stays simple, but that's the reason you're invested in it is because I like this character. And it's usually hard to like a protagonist. And on the topic of Ichigo, I think Ichigo is a good example of like a well balanced character. I don't think he's as simple as like the others, but I think I think from what I've seen so far, it's the other characters that typically tend to be very like serious toned and stuff like that. There's some jokesters here and there from what I've seen. Again, very limited stuff, but Ichigo seems to have a good balance between being serious and then just talking shit and being laid back every now and then. So
Mhm.
if that's simple for you, then sure, I think it works, right? Like,
Mhm.
you know,
Now, this is something that I've kind of like thought about for a while, and I wanna hear you guys' input on this. But what do you think that you have your shonen protagonist, and in this case, I'm probably gonna make a hot take right now, especially for you, Amash, or who
okay.
knows, maybe not. But if the sole protagonist of Dragon Ball
Yeah.
was Goku, I don't think I would like it. Hear me out. Hear me out. What I'm trying to say is that because Goku has a dynamic with other characters that also are the tropes, like the Vegeta trope, the blue guy that is serious, the Sasuke, etc., etc.
Mm.
So because he has interaction with other characters, that's what makes the shonen protagonist, in his simplicity, effective. What do you think?
In the case of Goku, it's actually Goku's persona that brings people to him,
Hmm.
right? So, and this is true for Luffy. This is true for Naruto. It's true for Gon as well. I think, and Hunter x Hunter. It's true for quite a few characters, but I think in the case of Goku, um, practically anyone that like let's just say name any fucking character in Dragon Ball right now that you like that isn't Goku. Chances are he's been someone that's wanted to kill Goku before or someone Goku's fought. And
Yeah.
that's typically the dynamic, right? It's very simple. So I don't know if Goku's the best example for that
Mhm.
argument or that position, just because it's people that are drawn to him. Um, but in the case of Denji, it's actually I think Denji or like Yuji, for example, in JJK, it's the
Mhm.
other characters that are around him that make him better,
Mhm.
right? But Goku actually makes a bunch of other characters better as well, just because he's so quote unquote pure, right? And this
Mhm.
is true for Naruto. Naruto made a ton of characters better. Luffy made a ton of characters better.
Mhm.
Gon makes a ton of characters better, right? Like so, in that instance, it becomes the main character makes other people better,
Mhm.
and they repay him the same way, giving people the impression that he's improving because of them, which is also partially true. But in the case of Yuji and Denji, for example, it's the people around him that make him better, and
Mhm.
then as a result, they benefit from his growth, right? So like that seems to be the dynamic, in my opinion.
So, do you think that in this case with Chainsaw Man, what we are going to experience, and again, I haven't read the manga,
Yeah,
so
neither have I.
I have no idea what's going to happen. But do you think it would be safe to say that maybe Denji is going to be the simplicity to this completely complex characters? Like, for example, something that everyone says is that Makina is very sus. Like she just has like some weird shit going on that she's not as simple. Like she has something going on. Do you think that Denji is gonna be that factor of simplicity that will bring them to his level?
Go ahead, Lethal. You can go
I
first.
probably shouldn't answer because I've read a bit of the manga, so I'm a bit
No,
ahead.
he's corrupt.
Oh, get out of here. Get the fuck
Nah,
out.
because do you know then if that's the case? Because like, have you gone that far or in the manga?
Yeah, it gets
Oh,
it
then
gets
fuck
into
me,
it.
dude. Okay, so then
What chapter are you on? Just to give an idea.
I'd have to double check that.
He's long and he's far enough to know, basically, right? So,
Yeah.
um,
Like I
Okay.
said, I read it for a while and then I just stopped. I didn't stop because I wasn't interested or anything like that. Just busy.
Mhm.
I never got back around to it. I was aiming to have it finished by the time the anime started, but just never got
yeah.
around to it. I was also planning to rewatch Bleach before it came back, and I never got around to that either.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's something that we talked about, of talking about Bleach. Also, by the way, if we make the Thousand Years of Pain of Kakashi Sensei, you will join. We'll see how that turns out because we have just a limited amount of characters, but maybe. So okay. So
Well,
going
I did.
back to
I
yeah,
mentioned
yeah.
earlier that like Makima is mysterious. I don't know about sus,
Mhm,
but she gives off that mysterious way. Like, look at it this way. Um,
mhm.
she just walks up to this chainsaw man devil thing
Yes.
and just hugs him. That bitch
Mhm.
is crazy, right? So like that's established early
Yeah.
on. And then she's not scared, she's not afraid, she's walking through a mountain of corpses. So like you don't even need to create a headcanon in your, like this a theoretical headcanon scenario interpretation like you do with the current DBS manga, for example. Like you don't even have to do that to establish that this bitch is about it, right? Like she's been through some shit herself.
Mhm,
So then you go into episode 2 and she's just like very in charge, but also very in a way that doesn't make it look like, again, like a flat out bitch, and you know where she's just where you just want to dismiss her in a way. Like naturally, Sims
mhm,
will still be like, "Step on me, please," but
mhm,
that's what I'm saying. I think so far it's okay, but perhaps my opinion would be different if I did read the manga, because
mhm,
then perhaps I would be like, because I have more context, I'd be like, well, they should have stuck to the manga because it's important for what happens later on. But that's
mhm.
what I'm saying. Where like, even if me and Lethal agree or disagree on some points, um, or me in the chat, for example, whatever, I think ultimately just comes down to the fucking show is pretty solid. It's an easy recommend so far. So,
But
you
even
know what I
at
mean?
the start of the episode, before they get
Yeah,
to the HQ, she kind of shows that she's in control by
yeah.
turning him into a pet. It's not, but that's like pinnacle of control.
Yeah,
Mhm,
yeah, and she's very like easygoing about it too, right? Like either you live as my dog or you die as a devil. It's your choice, right? And
mhm.
that's why it's a good segue from episode 1, because he wanted to live. His
Yeah.
backstory indicates that. What he goes through in episode 1 indicates that. Pochita gives up his life, or gives him his heart. That indicates that. So he's living his dream, and he's living his dream through Pochita as well. So it's just it's simple, it's fast, it's effective. Like it
Mhm.
doesn't need to be 50 episodes of Naruto for you to understand the point. It's no slight
Yeah.
at Naruto, but one of the issues I had with Naruto, for example, especially Shippuden, well, it's actually just Shippuden, was that the viewer, like my experience watching the anime was not pleasant, dude. Like
Mm.
you had to wait a whole year before the fucking war started again, dude. You know what I mean? Like that's why I like this change of pace with Chainsaw being as fast, but the pacing seems to be in a
Mhm.
way to where it's fairly easy to understand. So I can't really knock it for that reason. I'm
You
so
know,
used to this old school stuff. You know?
Mhm.
I've tried to get into Naruto, and I just can't. I every now and then I try and get back into it, and I can't do it, man. When does
Mhm.
it get good? When does something
Oh,
happen?
It
that.
depends. Yeah, see, that's the thing. It depends because like it is fundamentally good. It's just I think the anime viewer experience ruined it for a lot of people. So what people will do is just say they'll just tell you just read the manga, bro. But it's like you don't always want to do that. Sometimes hearing the voices kind of helps you to kind of connect with the characters a little better. You know what I mean? So
Mhm.
I don't know.
Yeah, and I think when it comes to Naruto, Bleach, One Piece, even Dragon Ball for the matter, I think it comes a lot to like the personal preference because, like for example, some of my favorite things about Dragon Ball don't come from like the usual things that a lot of people would consider. And actually, on that note, we just hit the 30-minute mark. So we're going to shift now the focus. We're going to give our final thoughts on the first two episodes of Chainsaw Man. And now we're going to be talking and we're dive into the other topic that we have for today, the heated topic, the spicy topic, the Dragon Ball topic. So final thoughts, Lethal, on Chainsaw Man. Are you good? Are you excited? What's your hype like? What are your expectations?
Oh, I'm digging it so far. Like I said, I think the first episode was really good. I really liked the first one.
Hmm.
I enjoyed the second one, but it was not as good in my
Yeah.
opinion. But I'm definitely looking forward to watching it weekly as well. But it's a recommend for me, at least so far.
Okay. Emosh.
I mean, episode one was the episode.
Mhm.
Um, again, there's so much going on in episode one. I'll summarize it very quickly. Again, you
Mhm.
have backstory, you have an emotional connection to the character. Denji is someone that he's portrayed as someone that you want to see succeed. So I could understand why the sudden change of pace from episode one and episode two, because in episode two you feel like he succeeded, but I also feel like episode two kind of conveys he succeeded, but he hasn't succeeded yet. There is more to that. His dream, quote unquote, was very nearsighted. It's very limited because he's poor, because he had nothing. So when you have nothing, it's easy to see everything. You know, you can't really think long term when you have nothing, right?
Mhm.
So in that regard, I think episode one does a lot of things very well. Like for me, I said it was like the perfect episode one
Mhm.
for an anime in quite some time.
Mhm.
Um, and maybe the only criticism being the whole CGI shit, but I think it works for this specific thing. And episode two, the CGI feels nowhere near as intrusive, quote unquote, as it did in episode one. I don't recall seeing an instance in episode two where I was like, oh, I don't like how that looks right there. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
It just flowed so well. So episode two, again, it's a change of pace, but it's a much needed change of pace to kind of like what I imagine to be for what's to come in the future, right? Like it's so obvious they're gonna go through some shit. Like it's so fucking obvious. So easy recommend for me. I don't know if I would recommend it for like first time anime viewers, quote unquote, because I think it's very like excessive. But um, it's an easy recommend, and I think it's probably one of the better things coming out for 2022 going into 2023.
Mhm. I am definitely going to agree with that one. I think Chainsaw Man brings. I don't think like the hype for this anime so far was like it's going to be life changing and like is
Yeah,
the best thing since sliced bread. It's really good, but I wouldn't. I don't think I still need to see more in order to like see like, oh yeah, this shit's gonna go. This is gonna go deep. Like, yes, we have some character depth. We definitely have some development coming out,
yeah.
but nothing necessarily super grandiose. Like, and you guys can say whatever you want about it, but the first two episodes of Attack on Titan, in my opinion, are textbook of world building, character introduction, and just hook overall. Like, if I would ever say, oh, those two episodes are like the definite textbook how you need to introduce your anime, I would say Attack on Titan. But that's just me again, you
Damn,
know.
we should do a video then if the chat is up for it,
Oh
kind
yeah, I
of
mean,
discussing Chainsaw Man's episode one and two versus AOT's. I hard disagree, but I'm not going to get into it now. But no,
dude, yeah,
it's
let's do
good.
that.
No,
Yeah.
episode one is what made me want to click on episode two. But
Mm,
to summarize, it's the end of episode one that made me want to click on episode two of AOT. You know what
mm,
I'm saying? So, because it was just so like, what the fuck, dude? Like, that was
mm.
what? So,
Yeah.
I'll leave it at that. Also, someone in chat mentioned Pochita. I actually feel embarrassed that none
Oh
of us talked
yeah.
about the fucking chainsaw
Dude,
dog.
dude, yes.
Um,
Real quick, let's talk about Pochita.
He's the fucking. I mean, I mentioned him, how he gave him his heart, but still, he's the fucking best, dude. Next to Power, probably. Pochita is the fucking best. I don't give a shit, dude. I'll stand that fucking dog to the day I die.
Dude, I'm not gonna lie. Just say it. I mean, Lethal already knows the answer to this, but if Pochita doesn't like, you remember the scene on Spider-Man 2 when Uncle Ben talks to Peter Parker when he's doubting his powers and they have that scene inside the car and everything? If there are not a couple of scenes of Pochita talking to Denji like, "Hey man, I'm here, like I'm alive inside of you," like Mufasa Simba type of thing, I'm gonna be so fucking pissed. Like I don't want him
Yeah.
to just be memories, you know?
Yeah, I'd like to. I'm sad that he's gone, quote unquote. I think we did get one more where he talked about showing him his dream. That's when he comes back, though, right? So that's about it. But
Mhm.
I'd like to get a little more. If not, I wouldn't even be mad, to be honest, because I feel like my feelings towards the character will be set in stone at that point. You know what I mean? So it's like I'm fine with that. I'm sold on Pochita for sure. So
Oh yeah, Pochita's, oh god. And so just a little tangent, but haven't you guys noticed that most dogs and cats in anime are voiced so poorly?
but
Like,
that's what, like, look at Bond from Spy X
oh
Family,
my
right?
god,
He says
Borf.
Borf,
He
fucking
says Borf.
Borf, Borf, fucking stupid ass
Like
dog, bro.
even right now, you did a better bark than the
Yeah,
whoever voices Borf.
yeah, but he's a
Um,
goat though. He's the goat though. Like
oh
Bond
yeah,
is, yeah,
he's awesome. I fucking
yeah,
love that dog. But
yeah,
still, like Pochita, he has such a cute ass bark and
yeah,
well done at that. So
yeah.
it's like, oh my fucking god, that it's so great. But yes, I just gotta say, Pochita, if Pochita doesn't come back in any way, shape, or form in a relevant way, other than fucking flashbacks, I will kick this show to the car. I'll be like, this is the worst shit
No, you
I've ever
won't.
seen.
No, no, you won't. No, no, you won't. Nobody
No,
believes that, dude. Like,
no, I know, but still, I want Pochita. Like, I really do.
yeah,
I really
yeah.
do. I definitely gonna riot. I definitely going to. But so there's one question that, and I kind of want to grab and just kind of morph the chat into that way. We've talked about animation,
Mm,
and this is, I'm just gonna put it out there. Watching the Dragon Ball superhero duper hero .com Budokai Tenkaichi level 3 movie
yeah,
was worrisome. Not because of like, oh, what are they doing to Gohan and that spiky ass hair?
yeah,
No, it was more of the, are they going to do this now? Is this the future? I mean, we saw it in the with the trailer for Trigon too. Like,
yeah. I
uh,
not like that.
is this the future of animation? This 3D ass shit? Like, I don't mind CG from time to time. Like, I know Mappa gets a lot of flack on, especially on the uh last part, the part 2 of the last season of Attack on Titan, with the freaking, with Titans being CG sometimes. And it's like, dude, I can forgive it. It's like, in my opinion, it's okay. It's integrated naturally into the world. But this shit right here, how do you guys feel about it?
This looks like a cutscene to a video game. But
Yeah.
Dragon Ball Superhero had so much fucking wrong with it, not just the animation.
Yeah, I mean, there's a
This
shit.
movie sucked asshole.
Yes, it did. It
But
really
Dragon Ball
fucking did.
Super as a whole sucks asshole.
Oh yeah, 100%. Dragon Ball Super. Okay, this is my question, and I wanna ask this question to Emash before we
Okay.
dive into your opinions on Dragon Ball Super. Who the fuck is the villain? Like, what are the
Yeah.
stakes? Are there any fucking stakes in Dragon Ball Super at this point?
I mean, there are, but they're nothing like they're nothing. Okay, to summarize it the best way I can, I think this is especially true for the manga, but this movie specifically does this because Broly. I mean, Broly was just a flat out good movie, but this movie and the manga,
100%.
they lately, for like the last few years, they've been trying too hard to recreate the moments that have earned their place in history. Okay, so you think Gohan versus Cell, you think Goku versus Vegeta, you think Goku versus Piccolo, you think anything that has earned its rightful place in history as some of the greatest fights, some of the greatest arcs, some of the greatest whatever the fucks in history, in anime history. And DBS tries way too hard to recreate those moments when it should be doing what other anime and manga are doing, which are creating new memorable moments that people will want to talk about with their friends, right? Like an acquaintance and stuff like that. So that's just it. And I mean, I guess in layman's terms, you could say it's a cash grab. Obviously, it is. But that's why it's not going anywhere. And in comparison to other anime and manga out right now, it's just not good. And that's why, and this is especially true for Dragon Ball fans and fans like them specifically, they hate when you compare it to something else because they know when you compare it to something that's actually good, it doesn't hold a candle to it. So they like to exist within their own little circle, within their own little bubble, and they go through any means of trying to defend it. And I think it's not good when a fandom is spending more time defending a product rather than just flat out enjoying it, like a JJK, like a Chainsaw Man, like whatever the fuck that's coming out right now. So that is my politically correct way of saying that it's ass. All right, it's not good. I don't like the direction that it's going. There was no reason for them to go this route. They had no faith in this movie, and it still did well. It did well everywhere except for its home country, which is not good. Film Red, for example, is currently, I believe, the number 6th all-time anime film in Japan right now, with with an insane amount. I don't have the number in front of me right now, but I know they've been breaking records left and right since its release, and it's still going strong. And Superhero only did well in places that already have low standards for Dragon Ball, and that's the problem with Dragon Ball fans right now. And I'll end it by saying this. I'll give it to Lethal. Dragon Ball right now, the fandom is in a position where they just want an announcement for anything. You announce anything with Dragon Ball on it, and they throw a fucking parade, right? Whereas other people, when Chainsaw Man's anime is announced, people already have expectations of it, right? Dragon Ball fans do not have this. This does not exist with the Dragon Ball Super fandom currently. They do not have expectations for anything because their standards are already so low. And I firmly believe that the sales numbers for everywhere outside of Japan, primarily in the West, for example, Superhero did well over here, but it did not do well in Japan, where it counts, where it should also count as well, because they and for people who want to cope in chat, they actually sold more tickets for Superhero than they did for Broly in Japan. So this idea that they did not market the movie effectively, whatever the fuck, it's just patently false. More people purchased tickets to watch Superhero than they did for Broly. This is a fact, which suggests that people were giving this a chance. People wanted to see where this was going. They went to go see it, and the movie fucking nosedived itself into the ground. It did not go up. It went down. Okay. So how do they make up for it? When it comes out over here, they push the movie out in over 3,000 theaters. You can go pull up the numbers yourself. 3,000 fucking theaters. And they only walk away with like 38 million or something like that over here. That's not good. So I understand that people will try to cope and say, well, it broke this record, it broke that record. Yes, but that's because of quantity and because the standard for the product is already so low. So what fans outside of Japan basically have done, they have told Toei that whether they market something or not, it does not matter. So there's no longer much of an incentive to give something of quality, because to people, Dragon Ball in and of itself is already inherently quality, and no matter what they put out, it's quality. Whereas other fandoms, like JJK and stuff like that, like new stuff that's coming out, they're working hard to establish relationships with their fans, whether fans like it or not. So whether a character dies or not, that's irrelevant. The point is these authors and these other animes that are coming out, and even ones that are still standing the test of time to this day, like One Piece Film Red, for example, and One Piece in general, they understand that if they give people anything less than, they will get shat on. There's no excuse for that, right? But Dragon Ball they don't treat that Dragon Ball IP the same way. So that's just generally it. Sorry for the long rant, but that's just generally it.
I think, and also this super chat came in at the right time. Michael Smith, thank you so much for your 5 buckaroos. Hey guys, I have to agree with him. I love Dragon Ball, but I do not like Dragon Ball Super at all. I prefer Dragon Ball Z to everything else. And here's the thing. and I want to bring this question to you guys and to the chat, and this could be like a controversial topic because I, I've been seeing a resurrection, a newfound love for Dragon Ball GT out of the blue because now we have Super, and it's like, oh no, but GT was like the shit now, and it's like I don't think there was really a lot of love for GT in the first place because, especially, it was not made by Toriyama, so
Yeah, but
it
that's
was
mostly by that's mostly by purists and elitists that are
yeah.
just they're just so used to dick eating source material.
Mhm.
So they see GT and it's just like, oh no, but uh Super Saiyan 4 literally carried GT. There's no doubt about that.
Yes.
There are concepts in GT that are just inherently good. You can tell that they tried to expand on specific things. Vegeta doesn't really he actually feels like he's moving forward. He's not repeating the same mistakes. Goku's the same way. He's not repeating the same exact mistakes to a T, but he feels like he's actually developed, even though he's gone back to a kid, right? But
Mhm.
characters feel like they've gone somewhere, like they've improved. But in Super, you don't get that, especially in the manga. It's just it's a joke. So
Just because Super is shit does not make GT better.
yeah, I mean GT could still be bad. I
Beautifully,
agree. Yeah,
beautifully said.
yeah,
Beautifully fucking said. Because
yeah.
there's some redeeming points about GT, and that was the opening and the ending songs. They were beautiful, and that's about it. And I mean, Super Saiyan 4, whether you see it or not, because it totally breaks canon, because you cannot turn into a Super Saiyan if you still have the tail. But somehow he fucking did it as a monkey, so that was kind of like, what the fuck. I was never a fan of GT, just by the way.
I think the
But
baby arc was good. I think the baby arc was pretty good,
mm,
comparatively to like a lot of instances in Super, for example. There were actual stakes, things like that.
mm.
But
Michael
it's the
Smith.
pacing that sucked. Go ahead, though. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, you good. Michael Smith, thank you again for your $5 ruse. Dragon Ball Z to me was more serious than Dragon Ball Super. 100 fucking percent. Dragon Ball Super just seems too comedic that it doesn't take itself too seriously.
Super turned Goku into a bumbling retard. He was never, the most intelligent guy, but he wasn't a dumb fuck by any stretch.
Yeah.
Super just turned him into a dumb fuck. And one thing that I've hated about Super was Super has relied so much on bringing back old villains. I mean, Frieza, Broly, Cell Max. Like, I don't understand
Yeah.
the defense for Cell Max. Like,
Yeah.
I'm the generation that grew up saying Super Saiyan 2 was the best, Gohan's the best, Cell's the best saga, right?
Yeah.
So when people try to tell me if you're a Gohan fan, you like this movie, like, fuck no, it's the exact opposite, in all honesty. Because one of the coolest things about Cell during the Cell games was, one, the fights were cool, but Cell, just the character himself, was a shit talker. He talked
Yes.
mad shit during all his fights, right? And Cell Max in this one is a fucking retarded kaiju. He just comes out going, like fucking live on the terrible with a
It's
Billy
interesting.
Colony record or some shit.
It's interesting. It's actually interesting that you mentioned that because the anti-Broly folks were the same who are the same people criticizing Broly for just being this big green guy that screams and has no character at all, are the same people dick eating this movie by saying Cell Max is fine and he's just a giant monster that just screams and he has no persona whatsoever. It's just it's really interesting to see, this is why I make fun of Dragon Ball fans a lot. Like the level of dick eating that people will go through. Just like I said, they're spending too much time defending this shit rather than just enjoying it, right? It's why DBS is just it's a meme at this point. Whether it pulls in
Yeah.
numbers or not is a separate issue, but like it's really just a joke at this point.
Dude, there was this figure. I'm actually going to pull it up in the stream real quick because I think when I looked at this figure on eBay, it reminded me why Super is so bad. Now, there's this comment that I wanted to point out, and I want you guys your opinion while I look for this figure. Dragon Ball GT is so bad. I know Super is not that good, but it's still better than GT. So which one is worse, GT or Super?
I would need to rewatch GT because it's been too long.
Well, let me ask you this, Lethal, then, right? Let's just say we agree that your biggest issue with Super is the rehashing of old villains and concept, right?
Oh, it's one of them, but yeah.
Well, one is that like one of your biggest concerns for like Super, for example? And this applies to the chat too. So as I'm asking Lethal the question, I want the chat to ask themselves the same question, right?
I wouldn't say it's the biggest, but it's one of them. That's for sure. Like it's definitely a standout.
So, and that's where GT excels because it doesn't actually do that quite often or nearly as often as Super does.
I mean,
so you have the
17, I guess. Is
well,
about
Super
it, right?
17. That's it. That was the only one. And then you have the Shadow Dragons, which introduces the actual risk use case for overusing the Dragon Balls. You have Baby, who is something from that's kind of established in lore to some degree, but just further expanded upon in GT, which ultimately gives. Yeah, I liked it too, which ultimately gives birth to taking the power of the Super Saiyan to its pinnacle, which is like, the whole like Super Saiyan 4 stuff, which is still to this day, arguably the most popular form next to Super Saiyan and maybe like, again, it's a preference, but it's one of the most popular forms ever. So I think that's GT's issue was that it had really good ideas, but it really executed them in a way where it just wasn't enjoyable. Most of the Shadow Dragons were ass up until Ice shows up. Ice is fodder, he gets bodied, and then you have Nuova, who feels like somebody, and then Sin Shenron shows up, and he's the only actual threat. But then that also gave birth to Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, and there's a lot of things that come from GT that they don't just cater to this garbage nostalgia bait all the time. So that's why I could respect it more than Super. But there are moments in Super that are just flat out like good. Like Battle of Gods was just great. The Broly movie was solid. I think Goku versus Jiren was great. Vegeta versus Topo was great. Topo was garbage, but I think Vegeta's quote unquote development in that instance was good, specifically in the anime. Manga, But Mert Zamasu was a nice take. Was like the freshest thing in my opinion because he was an actual threat to existence itself. Yeah. The closest thing to that would be Moro, who just ultimately becomes like a fusion of every single villain that Goku has faced, right? So he's kind of like a good test for Goku, but then that's discarded the minute Granola shows up. So it's, give or take, I think GT has a lot more better elements. So if you guys in chat find yourself disliking Super because of the constant nostalgia debate and no actual stakes, minus like, Merge Zamasu and the TOP, maybe Beerus, I guess. Those are inherent stakes. But if the nostalgia bait is an issue for you, then GT is better for that reason. Other than that, GT just has pacing issues. It's just not easy to watch it. The Power Brothers were terrible. But were they as bad as Copy Vegeta? That's something you got to ask yourself,
Okay, here goes a question before I show you the figure. I just found it. But I want to ask the question. What is, and this is for the chat and also for you guys, obviously, what is your favorite Super Saiyan transformation? And is Super Saiyan 4 better than Super Saiyan God?
So my favorite is Super Saiyan 2 and Super Saiyan 4. I think the concept of Super Saiyan God was awesome, but I don't think it went anywhere. So I'd have to go Super Saiyan 4.
That's hard to answer.
Super Saiyan God just got bodied by Super Saiyan Blue.
Yeah, it's hard to answer that because, like, if you're asking me just like the form itself, I think it's a hard close for me between like UI Omen and Super Saiyan 4. But generally, if you're talking about the form and how it was introduced, I think Super Saiyan is better than Super Saiyan 4 in that regard. Just because of what happened, just because how it's born, right? But yeah, it's hard for me to end. I think Super Saiyan flat out is my favorite form, generally speaking. But visually, it's between Omen and Super Saiyan 4 because you have the elements. Like with Omen, you have the elements of God, but it takes the base form and it kind of just makes it look pretty. You know what I mean? So it is new. But then Super Saiyan 4 is just so different. So that's how I'd answer that.
I just love Super Saiyan 2 with like all the electricity and like the spark sounds and everything. This is so cool.
Yeah. Now, mine is Super Saiyan 3. Just gotta say, 3 is goddamn.
You're one of those guys, huh?
Dude, my nipples have never been so hard as to when I was back in Mexico watching Goku transform for the first time against Majin Buu. Yeah. My God, I was impressed. I was like, look at how many bananas he has on his head. It's fucking amazing.
But Taco, but you remember that, right? Like, you remember what it felt like. But Super doesn't do that though. And that's what I'm saying. Like, it tries too hard to recreate moments that have earned their places in history, and and that's the problem with it.
So check this out. Because this is beautiful. Okay, so Michael Smith, thank you so much for the $2. My favorite form has to be Super Saiyan 3. You're with me, my brother. So this
Yeah.
figure,
They're
I
all
was
good though.
I was
They're all
very
good.
close on getting, and when I saw it, I was like, this is exactly why Super is shit to me. This figure right here. This is when Goku transforms into Super Saiyan for the first time and looks at Freezer, technically saying, I am about to fuck your world real fucking good. You're about to get a spanking. And
UI Goku has a very similar figure to that. Like it's so fucking good.
dude, this
Yeah.
is like, but you remember this moment. This is what you were
Yeah,
saying.
I watched it. Yeah, I remember. Yeah.
Like, remember how it felt to be like, oh my fucking god, what is happening? And I just feel like Dragon Ball Z did such a good job at earning the transformations, because jumping from Super Saiyan 1 to Super Saiyan 2, it wasn't like a big color change or anything. It was just like spike your hair with electricity. It was like, okay,
No,
I
it
can
was
see the
raw because
power of it.
Gohan did it. Yeah, it was raw because Gohan. It was a big moment. Like it's
Mhm.
one of the greatest moments ever.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I felt like the movie Superhero Duper Hero, or whatever the fuck the name is, it did such a disservice to that transformation, because they tried to replicate it and
Yeah.
made a new transformation. Like,
They turned Gohan into Zycor, dude.
yeah, like what the fuck?
Yeah. It's a joke.
That whole movie was fucking bad, though, man. It never should have happened.
Now here's the thing, and I said it once, I'll say it again, and you guys can roast me if you want. I'll take it. But I will be the first one to defend the movie if, and I have not read the manga as of yet, I'm not caught up with it, but
Well,
if the movie had two things going on for it that I was like, okay, if in the anime from
you're
this
already gonna
point
get
on,
laid down. You're already gonna get let down. I'm telling you right now. Go ahead.
oh yeah, I'm pretty sure. But
Go ahead.
okay, so if from this point on in the anime they continue with this two things that they did in the movie, I will be like, you know what? I'm gonna buy that fucking movie on Blu-ray, 4K, and Ultra HD, because I want to support the industry. What are
Right.
those two things? Number one is that now Gohan and Piccolo have a fighting chance with Goku and Vegeta, meaning that
Go ahead. I'm sorry. I gotta mute, dude. Hold on. My bad. Go.
no. I know. Like, this is just the voices of the drowning man at this point. But seeing that Gohan now has like is on par with Goku and Vegeta in a way, now finally we can like bring back those characters that, like, god damn it, the Cell saga, even the Boo saga, everyone had something to do. At this point, it feels like it's just Goku and Vegeta. Without them, even in the fucking movie, they're like, oh, where are they? Dude, you're a legendary fighter. What the fuck are you doing? So, anyways, if now from this point on, the anime is like, hey, we're bringing those characters into the forefront again, that's fantastic. And the second thing, and the most important thing, it was very detailed, very super detailed, super tiny detail. But when Goku was training with Vegeta in Biru's planet or whatever the fuck, Vegeta kind of was getting the upper hand on Goku, because he was like, hey, I've been studying everything, and not everything is brute force. And at that moment was the first time that I gasped at a Dragon Ball movie. Like, like it felt like, okay, so maybe now they're going to give Vegeta the respect that he fucking deserves. Because
You
my
don't
guy,
know, do you?
okay,
Yeah.
just say it. Just
He
fucking
doesn't
say it.
know.
He doesn't know.
Okay. The thing with Vegeta was a troll. It's an obvious troll. Him beating Goku in base at the end during a training session, that's an obvious troll. It's just to play at what fans want to see, right? But fans don't want to see whether if Vegeta can beat Goku in base. They want to see if he can beat him at his best. That when they're both at their best. That's one. Two, they've already established that the timelines between the anime and the manga are non-existent. They're two separate entities, right? So logically speaking, a superhero should actually take place after Granola, but it doesn't. So since they've established that because of Pan's age specifically, okay, so it should take place after the Granola arc, which, by the way, introduced Black Frieza, who one-shots UI Goku and Ultra Ego Vegeta
At the same time.
So there's that. And then the movie establishes whether, again, there's 100% reasons for skepticism. I agree with it. But if you just take the movie at face value, it heavily the theme of it seems to be making Piccolo and Gohan stronger than Goku and Vegeta. So there's that too. And then another problem is, I guess primarily the scaling is really out of whack for that specific reason, because people have a tendency to compare the anime and manga and try to, connect to the two, but they just flat out said, no, fuck you, don't do that. So they're just doing their own thing. So, yeah, dude. And then as far as like Vegeta's statement, that made you gasp, he actually says that him and Goku weren't that far away from Jiren in terms of strength, which is an obvious flat out fucking lie. They obviously didn't watch the fucking Tournament of Power at all. So, it's just flat out assery, this movie, in terms of its statements. And then like Goku seems to have a problem with Vegeta meditating. And that was weird. Which is also retarded considering how he fucking got Super Saiyan God in Blue, or at least Super Saiyan Blue, and then mastered the Kaioken on top of Blue, which requires some level of, mental control to some degree, considering he just tapped into Ultra Instinct, considering what people got so used to and accustomed to reading regarding how Goku masters Ultra Instinct in the manga. So to see Goku just criticize Vegeta for training a specific way is just ass. So again, it's another instance of, again, why I agree with Lethal when he says that there's so much wrong with the movie, and this stream can go on for 6 hours to dissect all of it, but we don't have time for that. So I guess the point is don't hold your breath, right? Like,
yeah, and honestly,
last time I had hope for Vegeta getting a dub was Resurrection of F, and we all saw how that went down.
Oh damn.
Yeah,
they had it. They had the moment right fucking there.
He gets it versus Topo.
It was done. They had it, and then they were like, "Nope."
He gets it versus Topo, and it was really handled. It was handled really well in the anime. Topo himself wasn't handled well, but it was handled well, I think, because Vegeta versus Topo is Vegeta versus Vegeta, basically.
You see, here's the thing:
Topo is Majin Vegeta. He discards everything. Vegeta's done that before in the Buu arc. Topo is literally Vegeta once upon a time, and Vegeta beating Topo establishes that Vegeta is moving forward, which is why so many people like the anime counterpart better than the manga, because the manga, he's reliving things over and over again, rather than just doing his own thing like he is in the anime. And that's also part of the reason why the GT discussion came up, because in GT, Vegeta felt like his own fucking character. He was moving forward,
totally
right?
Picture that a lot of Dragon Ball YouTubers don't like you, and that makes me like you more.
This is partially true, but this is probably not true at the same time. I actually get along really well with everybody. Oh, most people. Yeah. Dragon Ball fans don't like me, so there's that.
No, and honestly, here's the thing, and this is like for everyone in the chat. We're gonna be honest about our opinion, and that's it. Like, I know there's a lot of like fear of the communities, like, oh, I don't want to say that Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood is just mid because they're gonna crucify me, which
you just said it.
I just said it, and I'm not gonna say that Alchemist Brotherhood is mid, but it's not the greatest of all time. Like, I'm gonna be generous, 8.5. Like,
dude, are you okay? Like, where'd that come from? He just pulled out like Full Metal for no reason and just started fucking holy. Yeah, yeah, right. Like, it felt like that's something that he's always wanted to say.
I've been waiting for it, right?
Like, what the fuck was that, dude?
No, it's just because like there's a lot of people that are like, oh, you have to like you have to keep the flow of what's popular, and like, oh yeah, my opinion on this, it has to be the same thing, but regardless,
I got you.
Regardless, going back to the same point.
Yeah.
Going back to the same point, Super is shit. Like,
Yes.
let's just flat out say it. Super is shit. There's no stakes. It's very comedic. It doesn't take itself seriously. Like, there is no memorable moments on Super, and I fucking dare anyone. Like, maybe right now they're like, "Oh yeah, well, the fight with Jiren was super awesome." Okay,
That shit
I
was hype
want
though.
in fucking 7 years. In 7 years, I want you to tell me in detail how that fight went on before Frieza and 17 stepped in. Like, what was memorable about it aside the fact that it looked cool? Like, if we take the Frieza fight with Goku, oh, it had steps, it had a progression, there was things going on, um, up to becoming Super Saiyan. Then the same, the fight with Cell, ha- Gohan becoming Super Saiyan 2, but all the steps that got to that point. Then the fight with Boo, how he was just a fucking wrecking force. And when you thought Gohan was gonna be the savior again, uh, let me stop you real quick. You're not.
I
And
can answer that for you.
please.
So, the closest thing to Boo, or would be Moro. So Moro is pretty much like he's like the embodiment of Goku's previous adversaries, right?
Mhm.
All of his greatest opponents. So, but minus Moro, Jiren was Goku's greatest test.
Mm.
Like his that was his greatest test. That took, like, fighting Jiren was taking everything that Goku has ever gone through from Dragon Ball up until that point, surpassing gods. There's so much happening, right? And Jiren's answer to that was no. I just refuse to lose, right? Like I am this. So Jiren is what Goku wants to become. Like, that's his end goal, right? Not in terms of character, but like position, power, wanting to be the strongest. Goku will never get there because that's the plot. Because if Goku's the strongest, there's no plot. This is also true for Vegeta. If Goku is the strongest, then there's nothing left for Goku to do. And Vegeta is just left accepting that Goku is the strongest. But if Goku is continuously getting stronger, Vegeta has something to do. Goku has something to do. And because of that, you have a means of introducing other characters. So in that instance, Jiren becomes Goku's greatest obstacle ever, minus like Boo, for example, right? So that's because Goku versus Jiren was literally just Goku versus Jiren up until the very end when it ended up failing. But it also kind of reminds you that this is true time and time again. A lot of people say it's the Goku show, and that's partially true. But Goku always needs help. When it comes down to actually beating the guy, he needs help. Whenever he's in a position to beat the guy, he doesn't do it.
I mean,
minus some few examples, but
like even Boo, a lot of people are like, "Oh yeah, this character kind of sucks. It doesn't do." This character saved the fucking earth, Mr. Satan. If it wasn't for Mr. Satan,
right, and
Goku
that's what makes it
would
enjoyable.
not have been able to defeat Boo.
That's what makes it enjoyable, especially when you find out that he says he could have just beat the fat Boo, but he wanted the kids to get, like, you could tell that they wrote themselves into a corner. They just didn't. They wanted to like not make Goku the be all end all at that point until he ultimately is, but he is with everybody's help. It's Mr. Satan, it's Vegeta, it's everyone on Earth, it's the whole universe basically, right? But then look at what happens in the moral arc. That same person that he wanted to fight again, Oob, ends up being one of the key reasons he beats Moro. So there's some good in Super, but overall is objectively ass. And in regards to, there was something else I wanted to touch up on. Oh, you were asking for what you want. Like, you want Vegeta to do something. You want characters. Read Dragon Ball Kakume. Go look at it as soon as you get a chance.
How did you feel about Hit? Because I think Hit might have been the character I actually enjoyed the most from Super.
He's cool, but that's about it. He's just cool. Like that's all there is to him. But there's like nothing else happening. Like, you know what I mean?
Very well timed. It is purple Piccolo.
Yeah, he really is. Like, it's just, he's just cool. Like, he's just a character. He's one of those characters you want to see more of, but you don't. So that's all there is to it. Like,
so. Well,
Super
guys, I actually want to.
Chainsaw Man, good. Super sucks.
yes.
Yeah. Actually, the only good thing that I'm very thankful for about Super is the Broly movie. I think the Broly movie is one of the best Dragon Ball movies I've ever seen. Like,
my big problem with that, and this is very nitpicky, was the way that there was no actual winner to the fight. Like, it wasn't like they just kept going till one dropped.
Oh, I see, I see, I see. Gotcha, gotcha, gotcha.
That's very nitpicky.
I feel you. I feel you. No, yeah, I dig it. I dig it. So, guys, I don't want to keep you guys for too long, but I do want to say to the chat right now, you fucking chat right now, you ungrateful bastards. You guys have been asking for more deep dive talks. And yes, I know the Thursday streams have become very chill, where we don't do a whole lot of anime talks. We do anime related conversations, but not talks like this. So I want to see right now. There's 76 of you motherfuckers watching. At least I expect to see a good amount of comments right now saying, "Did you like this format?" Because if you didn't like it, if I don't see the love, if I don't see the support, then we're not gonna do them. Like easy as day, you know. But if you like this format, if you like this type of stream where we get together and actually like deep go into characters and stories, and we have a new theme every day, and well, I mean, like every week and everything, then I need to see it obviously on the like button. I need to see it on the on the chat. So it seems like yes, you guys are liking it, so I want to say for the next stream we're gonna select two topics. One topic I think we already discussed. It was which is better, right? The first two episodes of Chainsaw Man against the first two episodes of Attack on Titan. But there's another anime that I've been wanting to talk about, and I want to hear you guys' opinions. I don't know if you've seen it or not, which is Re Zero.
I'm familiar with the degenerate pictures of characters from that show.
Mm-hmm.
I know nothing of it, but
Got it.
I'm always down to learn. So yes.
Well, that one is definitely a one that you would need to like sit down and watch. But how about Violet Evergarden?
I can talk. Yeah, it's a masterpiece. What more? Yeah, I
Okay.
can talk about Violet Evergarden. It's a fucking
What-
masterpiece, dude.
What about you, Lethal? Could you talk about Violet?
I need to refresh myself on it.
I've seen the season. I just haven't seen the movie. Just FYI yet. So
Okay.
By any chance, are you guys watching Witch from Mercury, the new Gundam?
Oh, dude, I'm about to watch it. Actually, I'm about to. I have to finish right now. I'm like 4 episodes from finishing Fire Force, and then after that,
Fire Force is very, very enjoyable.
dude,
Very,
it
very,
is.
very good.
It was such a surprising
Yes.
breath of fresh air.
Yes.
Because I was
It's-
like, oh, here we go again with this same shit.
It's
Oh,
such
no.
a slept on show, dude. I can't wait for the next season, man. I think they stopped because their fucking headquarters got burned down. I forgot what happened, but that's I don't know. I don't know what's I've kind of dived into the manga, and I'm glad to report that it's still good. You're an AOT guy. I'm surprised you're not talking about Blue Lock because the character designs are very similar to AOT.
Oh, dude, I watched the first episode of Blue Lock. I was not expecting it to be a fucking
It's
Squid
solid.
Games, dude. It is pretty. It's a super interesting concept. So, yeah, I guess we have good themes to talk about for next stream. We might
Yeah.
go a little bit longer. We might not. I wanted to keep it like short and sweet for this one to get a feel. Like I am actually like blown away that you guys joined as much as you did. We were peaking almost at a 90 viewers, so that was
That's
really
Yeah, then you had to
super-
go and bag out Full Metal Alchemist.
Yeah, then they all left. And I was like,
and then I said that Full Metal Alchemist brother who was mid, and we dropped to like 20. But again, I didn't say it was mid. I just
Said
said
it was
that
shit.
I just do not consider
that's basically
it.
how they heard it. They heard mid and they heard it's shit.
Oh yeah.
Like even though we said DBS was shit specifically, they just heard mid and automatically associated it with that. Unfortunately,
Yeah. But anyways, let's finish up the stream with some recommendations. Let's recommend something from us to the chat, and why should they watch it? Lethal, you go.
Oh, dude, just look at my profile picture, man. I'm a Moonie, man. I'm a Sailor Moon guy. Now, one thing about the Sailor Moon is The anime is extremely toned down compared to the manga, but it's still enjoyable. So I would say check it out. And then there's the movie coming out next year as well, because Crystal's been a little bit more faithful to the manga, and they're getting into the final arc as a movie next year. And that last arc is fucking off guts, man. So check that out. And also Gundam, always Gundam. When in doubt, Gundam.
Gundam. Okay.
It's funny because growing up, I used to turn off Sailor Moon for Gundam. I used to just turn off the show and just go straight to Gundam or Yu Yu Hakusho.
I used to do. I never got into it until I got a little bit older, and then I watched it, and I was like, "Wait, there's something to this." And then I read it, and I was like, "This is a fucking horror. There is some body mutilation and murder going on."
I feel like people who are like, I respect people that like it and that stand it, just because I would never get into it. That's just not for me. I'm just not a,
if you don't like it,
Powerpuff. I'm gay then, I guess. I mean,
what about you, Amos? What do you recommend the chat?
Oh, Death Note. That's an easy recommend. Yeah, just Death. Yeah. It's the best thing. It's one of the best things for if you're a casual, if you're just if you're a modern head that hasn't watched older stuff or whatever the fuck. It's such an easy recommend.
Did they say that Netflix is doing a they're not doing a movie anymore? They're doing a series now.
I don't know what they're doing. I tend to.
They don't even know what they're doing. Like,
yeah. If the guy's name is Light Turner, I'm just not interested.
Light Turner.
Yeah. I understand that shit, man.
My recommendation for the chat is gonna be a surprise anime that I was not expecting it to be. No. It's called Noragami.
You mentioned that before.
Yeah, Noragami is a show that it's definitely not the generic thing that you were expecting. Like before I knew it, I was like so hooked and so worried for these characters. Like they made me care so goddamn much about them. So Noragami, really, 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 really good. I cannot wait for the author's health to come back to him so he can continue, but most importantly, so he is like not like unalive, but he's not doing necessarily great health wise. So all of us, let's send thoughts, prayers, whatever. What the fuck is this, Lito?
I swear I heard this somewhere, so I had to double check.
Choose poor soul to write live action.
No.
I am going to put my head through a fucking window, aren't I?
Oh, another recommend is you might hear me out until let me finish the sentence, okay, before you guys laugh.
Okay.
Watch Dragon Ball Evolution, but with friends. It is so funny. It is so entertaining because you will all collectively agree that it's so ass. It's so bad that it's funny and entertaining. I swear to God. I watched it for the first time with friends, and I have never. It's been a while since I've been that entertained because of how bad it was. We were just flaming it and roasting all the characters. I had such a good time. I would not recommend watching it by yourself. Though you'd probably want to.
Dude, speaking of that, for you guys to know, a little spoiler in the chat for some upcoming content that I'm gonna be posting this week and most likely the following week. I watched the live action Attack on Titan movie and I did a reaction. And let me tell you, I could not sit through 20 minutes of that goddamn piece of shit. And I recorded for like an hour. I was just stopping like, what the fuck? So just FYI, this fucking movie, Attack on Titan live action, I think is a very close contender to a very bad movie. But here's the thing, Evolution, I can see why it could be entertaining. The Attack on Titan live action movie is not that. It's not silly. It's not entertaining. It's fucking pure torture.
What's worse? Attack on Titan live action, Netflix Death Note, Dragon Ball Evolution, or Last Airbender live action?
I would say the best out of all of them is The Last Airbender because it at least has a beginning, middle, and end. It's a fucking terrible fucking movie.
The best part is when it ends, right? Like,
but yeah, I think the worst one.
The worst is Death Note, dude.
Yeah, I think so. Oh,
it's so bad. It's just so like it's just it's a fiery but mostly peaceful protest of common sense and logic and anything that's good. That's what that is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Guys, also before I forget, if you're not subscribed and you're watching this stream, subscribe. Like I was looking into the analytics and like 76% of the people that watch us are not subscribed. So if you are one unsubscribed motherfucker, stop being an unsubscribed motherfucker and become a subscribed motherfucker. Motherfucker.
Motherfucker.
Motherfucker. So with that said, guys, I am very happy that this stream went the way it did. It seemed like you guys in the chat loved it, or at least liked it enough, because this was definitely something that I've been wanting to do for a minute. The Weaves and Waifus community, I tried to make it to be very. I hate using this word in a way, but it is very descriptive, inclusive. Like I wanted people that have never seen anime to also feel like, oh, I could learn on this channel too, where it's not like super like deep dive all the time. So I wanted to make it a little bit more friendly. But I wanted also to have this type of discussion. So I absolutely loved it. I am very thankful that Lethal and Emash joined. So
Can I just add to that?
yeah,
So,
absolutely.
one thing that this goes to the chat too specifically. So, you may have heard us say that quite a few things on this panel were shit. Okay, but that's also a good way for kind of like it's a great way to generate interest, like, and it kind of develops curiosity within people. So when someone says something is shit, all the more reason for you to go check it out, which kind of adds to the idea of being inclusive. So if you have never seen Dragon Ball Super and you just you heard us say that it's ass, go watch it for yourself and then make your own decision. And then come back and say, hey, Taco, Lethal Emish, like I watched it and it's ass, or it's actually better than I thought, or whatever the fuck. And that's what helps to kind of like keep the community going. So yes, go do
And
that.
of course, if you like something, you like something.
Yeah, it is what it
Us
is.
freaky kids have no right to tell you what you can and can't like.
No,
Yep.
yeah. If you have your taste and likes, by all means, we're not going to trash your likes. That's something that we'll never try to do. Like amongst the panel, we'll like shoot shit. But if you like something, be proud of it. Like legit, we're not going to be those type of anime channels. There's like, you fucking stupid piece of get the fuck out of
Yeah,
here.
like I like soda. I like soda, but it's not good. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
you like Dragon Ball Super, but it's not good. Like it's fine. It's no big deal.
So with that said, thank you so much, guys. I really appreciate it. We're still coming up with a name. The best name I could come up with, well, not that I came up with. Someone recommended it on the.
Who recommended it?
Let me see. Let me see,
Because
because
deeper senpai is no different than saying deeper poppy. Like that's like
no, but it's because we're going deeper into into the stories.
I know. Yes, we are. Balls deep.
We're going Dragon Balls deep into the stories. Let me see.
Super.
Still better than Super. What the? Okay, let me see who recommended this shit. Because I want to give him a shout out, because it was, regardless whether we stay with this name or not, I have to say it's pretty.
Yeah,
original.
if you can't say, it's fine. I was just curious because I saw deeper senpai and I was like, well, okay. I mean, it matches. I mean, sure. Like, all right.
Okay, here it is. Oh yeah, Dole Live Dan. Dole Live Dan. He actually didn't say deeper
Dirty
senpai.
Dan. It's Dirty Dan.
He said go deeper on Nichan. That was his recommendation. Go deeper on Nichan.
That is very questionable.
I know.
I feel like I need a lawyer.
Go deeper on Nichan?
That was legit his recommendation. Go deeper on Nichan. And I was like, God damn, like it's a play on words, because we're going deeper into the talk.
Nichan.
Into the what,
Yeah.
Ivan? What are we going deeper into?
the subject matter in this case.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's unfortunate.
Anyways, but another close
Yeah.
contender was from 8-Bit Axel, Taco
Okay.
Sensei's Deep Dive Dojo. But
Deep dive. Okay.
but that seemed like a little too much deep dive dojo, like triple D.
Triple D's, bro. Yeah, that works.
The triple D.
No,
Welcome
because
to the triple D.
because you can play off of it, but it's not like obnoxiously degenerate. Like no offense to Dan. No offense to Dan. Again, this is no offense. It's just go deeper on Nichan. Like what the fuck, dude? Like you know what I mean? So I mean, think about it. You should watch my show every Monday at 8 p.m. 10 p.m. Eastern. It's called "Go Deeper, Onichan." Like,
Kamete kudasai, Onichan.
yeah, like So, but triple D's. Like there's so many things you can do with it.
Yeah, I like it.
Oh yes, there
There's
are.
so many things. Yes.
All right. With that
Yeah,
said,
but all kidding aside, it was fun to be here. Thanks for the invite, though.
no, please, and I hopefully will do this every Monday. Now, next Monday for sure we're not going to do it. We'll try to do it another day during the week, and I'll get with you guys about it. But next Monday I'm gonna be still in Orlando for the Geeks and Gamers meetup, so that's why I'm not gonna be able to do it. Anyways, so with that said, guys, thank you so much for those that joined. This stream is still going to be up. It's not going away like the drumming streams. So thank you so much. Daramuth, he sounds very cultured. He definitely is. Thank you so much for your 2 buckaroos. So with that said, guys, I will leave you with Wives and Waifus present this. I will leave you guys with our intro, with our fucking very good intro. So enjoy. Bye.
Bye.